Mark Williams trade rescinded. What comes next for Lakers on buyout market? And in the offseason, Lakers face uncertainty at center after rescinded Mark Williams trade.
The Los Angeles Lakers aimed to balance immediate needs with long-term aspirations when they acquired Charlotte Hornets center Mark Williams.
In the big picture, they envisioned him as their anchor in the frontcourt alongside Luka Doncic for the next decade.
In the short term, though, they simply needed another big body to fill a glaring void. Even with Anthony Davis on the roster, who openly acknowledged the issue himself, center remained a position of concern. Now, with the Williams trade voided due to a reported failed physical, the Lakers find themselves even more depleted at the position.
Davis is gone, and his intended replacement won't be arriving either.
That leaves Jackson Hayes as the team's only natural center. Maxi Kleber, who came over in the Doncic trade, has limited experience playing the position but is more of a forward and is sidelined for at least 8 weeks.
Meanwhile, two-way players Trey Jemison and Christian Koloko remain unproven. Simply put, the Lakers' frontcourt depth is alarmingly thin. Is there any hope of reviving the trade? No.
Typically, a trade blocked by a failed physical can be adjusted to account for the new medical findings. This happened just recently when the Philadelphia 76ers added a second-round pick to finalize their deal involving Caleb Martin and Quentin Grimes after Martin's hip injury became a concern.
However, that amendment was made before the trade deadline.
In the Lakers' case, they lacked the time to thoroughly evaluate Williams before the deadline passed.
That left them with only two choices: approve the deal as originally constructed or cancel it outright.
They opted for the latter, meaning the trade is now dead unless both teams revisit talks in the offseason. Since the deadline has passed, Los Angeles can no longer seek a different trade for a center.
Can the Lakers still add a center? The biggest beneficiary of this situation? Jackson Hayes.
Despite his struggles in a backup role this season, he now finds himself in line for significant minutes alongside Doncic and LeBron James, just as he approaches unrestricted free agency. If ever there were a moment for him to prove his value, both to the Lakers and the rest of the league, it's now. Hayes possesses all the physical tools of a quality NBA center. At 7 feet tall with an even longer wingspan, he's an explosive athlete capable of finishing Doncic's signature lobs.
However, his rebounding has been underwhelming, and while he can be an impactful shot blocker in short spurts, his defensive positioning remains inconsistent.
The Lakers have spent 2 seasons trying to develop him into a reliable rotation piece, with mixed results.
Now, they don't have the luxury of waiting any longer. Another possible adjustment?
More minutes with LeBron James at center. The Lakers must be cautious about overburdening their 40-year-old star, but with Doncic and Austin Reeves helping to facilitate the offense, James can afford to exert more energy on defense. Though he lacks the size of a traditional big man, his basketball IQ allows him to consistently position himself correctly when engaged. JJ Redick has experimented with this lineup in small doses, 342 total possessions this season, while former coaches Darvin Ham and Frank Vogel utilized it more frequently. Historically, these lineups have performed well offensively but struggled on defense, a pattern likely to continue given the current roster. Ultimately, though, the Lakers will likely need to add another center. However, their financial constraints create an obstacle. Since they are above the first luxury tax apron, they can only sign players whose previous salary was below the non-taxpayer mid-level exception, roughly $12.8 million. Potential center targets. A few options stand out. Daniel Tice is arguably the best available center, but at just 6'8", he lacks the vertical spacing Doncic prefers in a lob threat. Bismack Biyombo could be a fit, but he just signed a 10-day contract with the Spurs. If he becomes available afterward, the Lakers could pursue him. Mo Bamba, a former Laker, was recently waived by the Jazz. Given the Lakers' history of bringing back former role players, a reunion isn't out of the question. JaVale McGee is currently playing in Puerto Rico, but a return to Los Angeles could be appealing. Beyond these names, the buyout market presents another layer of complexity. Typically, a veteran must agree to forego part of their salary, usually the amount they expect to earn from their next contract, in order to secure a buyout. Teams benefit financially, while players gain the flexibility to choose their next destination. However, some teams may be reluctant to part with certain players, particularly if they see long-term value in keeping them.
Yet, the Lakers' situation could be enticing.
A veteran center looking to rebuild their market value could see significant playing time alongside Doncic and James, potentially boosting their next contract.
It's entirely possible that some experienced big men around the league are weighing this possibility, or at least hearing pitches from their agents about it.